You are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It's a Thursday.
Are you sure?
Or as Paul Ryan would call it, the first day of the rest of his life.
He's spending more time with family.
Well, not yet. Not yet. Still got lots of work to do.
You know, I asked my kids.
Renouncing the candidacy of Paul Nealon.
Well, very busy man.
Well, that was staff anyways.
I asked my kids today, kids, what do you think if I just, retired from the radio and stayed home all the time so we could spend more time together?
Yay.
My son just shook his head. My daughter said, I'll probably be playing with friends.
Washing her hair that year, that lifetime,
Yes.
forevermore. Just stay out of the bathroom, Dad. I'm washing my hair. Dom, I want to get something out there before we jump into the headlines. A couple of big shots. Our friends, Congressman Mark Pocan and DNC Deputy Chair Congressman Keith Ellison, going to be in Madison on Friday night. They're doing a little town hall. This is a little bit of an impromptu event, a community conversation about healthcare with Congressman Mark Pocan and DNC Deputy Chair Keith Ellison. Friday, April 13th. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
They ever tell you my mom was tricked addictophobic? Anyways, tomorrow, 7 to 8 p.m.
Whatever your mom's into, that's between you guys.
Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Where Madison Labor Temple, that's at 1602 South Park Street, Madison. And I told him, save a little bit of the good stuff for me. I'm going to show up tomorrow. I'm going to haul ass all the way to this town hall. I might miss the very beginning, but, God willing, in a tailwind, I'll be there for the vast majority of this event. And I asked, could we get some exclusive sound only for Devil's Advocates audience members? And I got a probably.
Probably. Last time I interviewed Keith Ellison, I got the man hug, man.
Yeah, he's a cool cat, wasn't he?
Nice guy.
He has been to town before, along with his friend Mark Pocan. So if you're able, I would encourage you, go see these two fine Congressmen Ellison and Pocan Friday, April 13th, 7 to 8 p.m. Doors open at 6:30. Madison Labor Temple, 1602 South Park Street. There, I did it.
All right.
I remembered.
The community service has been done.
We'll try to remind you again if I remember to remind you. Also, Dom, there's people contemplating today whether or not they're the right Republican to supplant Paul Nealon as the GOP frontrunner in Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District.
White nationalist Paul Nealon, that GOP frontrunner?
That guy.
That guy. Okay. All right. So I want to be sure.
Someone's got to go out there and be the piñata just to get Paul Nealon off the tips of our tongues. And we would not then be able to say Paul Nealon, white supremacist, Republican frontrunner in the 1st Congressional District
I don't know.
of Wisconsin.
I kind of hope whoever does decide, if anybody does, perhaps Nealon's the guy, but maybe someone else
most reflective of family values on the Republican side these days.
Maybe someone else will step up, but until then, obviously, we must inform the audience. Paul Nealon is the GOP frontrunner.
It must be spring here on Brady Street. Just saw a young lady walking by with a beer. Had no qualms, just broad daylight. Got a beer. It's a cold one, taking it with.
Started out as a beautiful sunny day, a little less so now, but hell, it's getting there, man.
Buddy, it wasn't a can. It was like a nice glass. Nice stein of beer, just walking down the street.
You got to watch out. People
having
take
a cold
glasses.
one.
Yeah, collect the glasses on Brady Street.
Reigns Priebus. There'll be no Edelweiss as his campaign song. Apparently, the timing of the former Trump chief of staff couldn't be worse. Couldn't be worse, Tom. Mueller investigating his old boss and Stormy Daniels and lawsuits and everything else. You know, he'd like to do it, but I guess maybe he wants to spend some time out on the golf course this summer, Dom. Or more aptly, more time with family.
Scott Bauer from the AP, former White House Chief of Staff Priebus, took himself out of consideration Thursday as a candidate to replace Speaker Ryan.
I think Trump took him out of consideration the day he joined his team.
Of course, we know Ryan announced Wednesday he will not seek. Another potential candidate, Crudy Speaker Robin Vos, said he intended to decide by Friday. Here's what Vos said. It's a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Paul Ryan was there for 20 years. You have to think about that. Priebus, who previously lived in Kenosha but now resides near Washington, D.C., categorically ruled out a run. I'm always interested in serving, but the timing for me couldn't be worse. It's been a massive run politically, but the cost is, of course, you just haven't been around.
Well, let's talk about the other fine public servant, noted Speaker Robin Vos. Before he makes the decision Friday, he might have to answer to the headlines today. Jason Stein, Patrick Marley at the Journal-Sentinel. Wisconsin Speaker Robin Vos took free trip to London with lobbyists and leaders from the other states.
Yeah.
From other states, not the other states. The Assembly's top leader was among a national group of lawmakers who took a free trip with lobbyists to London. An August excursion that contributed to the resignation Tuesday of his counterpart in Ohio.
What?
People are losing jobs over this trip. Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos defended taking the free trip and said he followed state ethics laws in accepting it. I'm not clear. Do we have ethics laws in Wisconsin anymore, Dom?
Maybe he left a message, but nobody called him back.
Cliff Rosenberger, the Speaker of the Ohio House, said this week he was stepping down amid an FBI investigation that is reportedly looking at the 4-day trip to England and other issues. Perhaps the other issues is the more important part. Or maybe it's the trip to England.
Maybe.
Do you think Robin Vos is also under investigation? I mean, if one guy's under investigation for accepting a lobbyist trip, wouldn't another guy be? I mean, and if it's the FBI, that's not state campaign finance law being broken. It wouldn't matter what Wisconsin's law is. Anyways, just what I ruminate in my mind. Vos said he has not been contacted by the FBI or other authorities or discussed any legislation with lobbyists on the trip, either during or afterwards.
Yeah, the trip was in what? Perhaps a thank you?
Vos was in the news this week as one of the potential candidates who might seek to replace House Speaker Paul Ryan and Paul Nealon, the white supremacist GOP frontrunner in Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District.
Oh, let's see. Where'd you leave off here? Vos.
I kind of made up the last part on my own. Sorry if
thank you.
I was like Trump-like. I went off script.
Jason Stein, Patrick Marley, Journal-Sentinel. 2 out-of-state lobbyists for title lender LoanMax, Steve Diamond and Leslie Gaines, were also on the trip, according to the Cincinnati Enquirer. LoanMax has 16 locations around Wisconsin. The parent company, Select Management Resources, is registered to lobby in Wisconsin, but with different lobbyists. In the past, Vos has sponsored measures to loosen state regulations on the payday loan and title loan industries.
Stop right there. Despicable. Despicable. Why would you want to expand the payday loan industry in the state of Wisconsin? Even for the evangelicals, the biblically sorted, that's usurious interest rates, is it not? The Bible speaks out against this. I mean, anyone should speak out against sticking it to the unsophisticated consumer with payday loans that trap them in this unending cycle of debt.
Legal loan sharks, man.
And why would Robin Vos do that? Maybe a nice trip to jolly old England. Maybe that helped push him over the edge and convinced him, yeah, this is really good stuff. Freedom.
Well, Crudy, this, according to Vos, he has not talked to these lobbyists regarding legislation during the trip or after. So presumably all that
what they
business
talk
was done
about
before. Well, here we go. We'll continue, Crudy. Here, Vos, an admirer of the British leader Winston Churchill, said it was reasonable for him as a state official to travel to England to learn about Churchill and global trade, even if lobbyists were there with him. It's all an opportunity to learn, Voss said. I think it's got a lot of value to it.
Yeah, it's got an exceptionally high value to it, which makes me question, sir, why would you, as the Speaker of the Wisconsin Assembly, accept such a expensive trip to jolly old England? What, you couldn't Google Winston Churchill? You couldn't, I mean, it's not like he's living. It's not like you're going to a meeting with the man.
Come on, you know it's entirely different when you actually walk into the office and sit in the chair. You know, you get the experience. You can't get that in reading.
Between the popcorn factory and his per diem, you know, because Speaker of the House, Speaker of the Assembly, lots of per diem. And oh yeah, the $51,000 a year job that he has. He couldn't raise enough scratch of his own to finance his own fact-finding trip on Churchill to England? Really? Really?
Crudy, there's a radio station in the Bahamas that has a really good signal that I'd like to go study right now. Just for research. I'm going to be doing work the entire time.
You were on spring break last week. You
I was studying
there,
the towers in Arizona. Where was I?
Yes, Arizona. Well, Crudy,
it wasn't London.
I got to say though, as a Wisconsinite, it historically speaking, it hasn't really worked out too well when elected officials from our fair state travel overseas. They kind of make an ass out of themselves.
Dominic, the August 28th to 31st London trip was paid for by the conservative GoPack Education Fund, one of a range of groups that help pay for educational conferences for state lawmakers. I'd call those, slush fund junkets? From the nonpartisan National Conference of State Legislators to the Liberal State Innovation Network and the conservative American Legislative Exchange Council. I bet you Leah Buchmer's heard of them.
Hey, that's Alec.
Though such trips are relatively common, a choice international destination like London isn't the norm. The Inquirer reported that the title loan industry is fighting legislation in Ohio that would restrict those businesses. When the newspaper asked Diamond the lobbyist if the FBI had asked him about the London trip, he responded, "You should ask the FBI." Hannah Colligan, the director of governmental ethics at the Markukula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University in California, said before taking such trips, lawmakers have to think carefully about how the public will perceive them. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical, said Colligan.
Ethics? So what? He was learning about Churchill.
One more quick quote, Dom, if you don't mind. The trip, for example, if it's being sponsored by lobbyists and appears there is an attempt to influence legislation, it appears there might be, but let me finish the quote, then that raises a red flag. I think the freak flag's flying, Dom. I am quite miffed at the fact that the Speaker of the Assembly of the state of Wisconsin would not have the common sense to either self-fund a trip to go see Churchill, historical remnants. I mean, what's he walking around, going to Abbey Road next? I always like the Beatles, too. Is that a good enough reason to take a free trip on lobbyists that might have legislation that you have sponsored before the Wisconsin State Legislature?
Constituent services, Crudy.
Yeah, that's a hell of a service. Hope the FBI doesn't come calling. Come back with us. If you want to call us FBI, it's 844-967-2789. But I swear, Dom did it, not me.
That's not mine. I'm telling you, baby, that's not mine. I don't even know what this is. This sort of thing ain't my bag, baby. It's a bit nutty.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Crazy E-Bike Lenny, where you been? We've been missing your nonsense on this radio station.
Come on, Trump is all the nonsense you need, but Crazy Lenny's E-Bikes has some real sense. 2017 top-of-the-line, cold standard, 60-mile range e-bikes, liquidation price to $900. 60 miles with both pedal and throttle assist. A $2,000 e-bike for $900. This bike is great.
That's crazy.
And it's not fake news.
Go see my friend Lenny, 6017 Odana Road, Madison. Tell him the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues that improve the quality of a teacher's workplace will increase opportunities for students and make schools safer for everyone. Stand with teachers, stand with WEAC Region 7.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Ass, grass, or cash, nobody rides for free. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, also streaming on YouTube and Facebook. We are on Twitter at Devil Radio, and the party line to call or text 844-967-2789.
Top of the page, Journal Sentinel online at this moment, Dom. This headline, Wisconsin Speaker Robin Vos took free trip to London with lobbyists and leaders from other states, one of whom is being investigated by the FBI. It is the payday lending industry that gave Robin Vos this grandiose trip to what, according to Vos, go study Winston Churchill lore?
It's all an opportunity to learn. I think it's got a lot of value to it.
And that's perhaps the problem, Dom. Ethically, legally, this trip's got a lot of value to it. I don't think he flew Southwest middle seat in the back, right? The Speaker of the Assembly? I know he's not a big man like myself, but he still didn't fly coach, did he?
I do not know. Crudy, the reporting, Jason
Come on,
Stein,
Speaker of the Assembly
Patrick
doesn't
Marley.
fly coach. Although, quite frankly, old memories flooding back. Scott Fitzgerald got stuck middle seat going out to D.C. for the inauguration.
See?
That's because people don't like him.
State ethics laws generally prohibit legislators from accepting valuable gifts, but do allow them to accept travel expenses to go to conferences about official business, said David Berger, staff attorney for the Wisconsin Ethics Commission.
Official Churchill business? Please continue.
But even when on official business, state leaders should be wary of accepting anything beyond the actual and reasonable costs incurred on behalf of the state. When accepting a hotel room for the length of a trip to a conference may be okay, while doing that may be okay, acceptance of tickets to a sporting event while in town would generally not be permitted. Crudy also...
You think he took any soccer games on the lobbyist? I'm just asking. We should check his Facebook page. I bet he's already purged any
highly doubt
vacation photos.
That the white Republican legislative leadership are really into soccer. I'm just saying probably not.
But he's a smaller guy. You know, it's always the small, wiry guys that play soccer. But please continue.
Also on the trip was former lawmaker and GOP fundraiser Michelle Litjens, who at the time was Voss's fiance and is now his wife. GOPAC did not cover her costs, Voss said.
She's a very pretty woman. I hope they have... Never mind. Just go on.
GOPAC Executive Director Jessica Curtis said her group urges elected officials to consult their state's ethics and campaign laws before accepting such trips. Curtis declined to disclose the cost of covering the trip for Voss or the donors who had helped pay for it, saying only that donors could not require that scholarships go to particular lawmakers.
Now, Voss made an honest woman of Michelle. But at the time, they're shacking up?
Wait, I thought that was...
Living in sin?
Oh, you can't live in sin, Republicans? That's
I'm
wrong.
sure they had no gratifying premarital sex whatsoever.
You sure about that?
Well, I've heard rumors, but I feel confident that he would do the right and honorable thing by his fiancée. I'm sure they slept in, separate beds, separate rooms?
Because they're not married? Come on, man.
Well, otherwise, if she's sleeping in the room that he was bought by the lobbyist, isn't she also being granted some sort of benefit?
It's not just about the sex. Yes, there would be a benefit of sleeping in the lobbyist bed, if not sleeping with the speaker.
Now, how dare you imply I was making it about sex in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
I was trying to get to the ethical core of the question, and it's rotten. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Your opinions welcome here. 844-967-2789.
Let this be a reminder to you all that this organization will not tolerate failure.
It's a bit nutty.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Believe me, there is no collusion. Believe me.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
promises made.
Have you paid into a pension plan or are currently paying into a pension? Join the Wisconsin Committee to Protect Pensions Saturday, April 21st for an update from Washington, D.C. and the first Special Select Committee. The meeting is at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield, Wisconsin at 10 a.m. A promise is a promise is a promise. This is an issue that affects everyone. Active workers, retirees, spouses, and veterans are encouraged to attend Saturday, April 21st at the American Legion Post at 3245 North 124th Street in Brookfield at 10 a.m. Meetings are also taking place in Sheboygan, Endeavor, Wausau, and Green Bay. Go to the Wisconsin-Milwaukee Southeast Committee to Protect Pensions Facebook page to learn more. Join us Saturday, April 21st, 10 a.m., the American Legion Post in Brookfield. It's not their money, it's yours.
We were wrong. They stole our pensions.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exodus.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan said he does not plan to run for office ever again. Ryan announced yesterday that he will retire from Congress in January. Governor Walker says he will not appoint an interim sheriff to replace David Clark. Voters in Milwaukee County will choose a new sheriff in the November election. The Bucks lost last night to the 76ers, 130-95. Their first playoff game is Sunday against the Celtics. And the Brewers beat the Cardinals yesterday 3-2. They have today off, then start a 3-game series with the Mets in New York tomorrow. Partly sunny this afternoon, then a 70% chance of rain tonight, lows in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the mid-40s. For Saturday, rain likely, windy and cold with highs only in the upper 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
I wish I would have met you. Now it's a little late.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. You know, Dominic, right now, as we speak, we're booking. This show is getting bigger
and
by
better
the moment.
every minute.
That's outstanding. Also, on tomorrow's big show, we're going to have Randy Bryce, the Iron Stash candidate in Wisconsin's 1st Congressional District. He's a friend of ours. He will be joining us in the 4 o'clock hour, I believe. I'm not sure if we're firm on time. So you better listen to the whole show just in case.
All right. Randy Bryce coming on. You know, if he wins the primary, Crudy, as of right now, who would he go up against in the general?
Well, right now, the GOP 1st Congressional District frontrunner is white nationalist Paul Nealon.
Oh, that's right. Republican Paul Nealon, GOP frontrunner. I just wanted to remind everybody about that.
And also, big news, our buddy Mark Pocan, congressman, is coming at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, right, Fancy Brian? I got the big nod and the 2 thumbs up.
Indeed he is.
Mark Pocan, 4:05 today. You better keep listening to this big show.
You never know what's going to happen. But Crudy, Robin Voss, Assembly Speaker here in Wisconsin, has said he will make a determination Friday, by tomorrow, whether or not he will throw his head into the ring as the Republican nominee for the 1st Congressional
But
District.
he might have some splaining to do, Dominic. I mean, this trip doesn't look good. It's not the way to launch your new congressional campaign, I can tell you that.
Now, you made a good point here, Curdy. I want to get away from, we always like to have a little fun about the sex, but let's think about this for a moment.
I have a plethora of great ideas. Which one most struck you so far?
Well, when you're reading the reporting of Jason Stein and Patrick Marley in the Journal-Sentinel, they noted that this lobbying group, GOPAC, did not pay for Voss's girlfriend at the time.
Future Mrs. Voss. Fiancé.
All right, there you go. Fiancé.
My fiancé.
They did not pay for her travel.
And I would point out, Michelle Michelle
Voss now.
Michelle Voss. I'm not sure if she adopted his last name. Very charming lady. We met her at the Milwaukee Press Club. She was there with her new husband. Even Robin Voss, very gracious to us that day. But, you know, when you get to go overseas, Dom, kick up your heels, somebody else pays the fare. And they didn't pay Michelle's fare, the lovely and talented Michelle. But why not? Why wouldn't you pay her fare as well? Is there some ethical breach?
Well, she's a citizen. She's no longer in the assembly. She's not in government. I mean, she's a fundraiser. But other than that, she's a former lawmaker. I mean, you can't hold her to any electoral ethical standard.
So why then they pick up her tab? Is there a prohibition out there? And if they didn't pick up her tab, did she have to go and have a separate hotel room? Did they keep a respectable premarital distance on the trip to England? That'd be my question, Don.
I think it's a hell of a question, Crudy, and I'm glad you asked it.
You know who else has made a spectacle of himself by traveling to England?
Scott Walker.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
You remember when he was a failing presidential campaigner?
Didn't he also go to England for the very same reason? All about trade and learning.
Well, that was February 2015. Scott Walker desperately needed to add a few check boxes on his foreign policy resume. So he did the cheese summit. I think he took a couple guys from Weedick with him.
What, Delavan to Madison doesn't qualify as international travel?
I would rather see lobbyists pay Robin Voss to go kick up his heels in jolly old England than to have the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin financing a trip for Scott Walker, which was really all about his presidential foreign policy.
And selling Wisconsin cheese.
Oh, yeah, he was big on cheese. I bet you he made the bigliest deals on behalf of the Wisconsin cheese industry.
Well, while he was there, Crudy, he spoke at the Chatham House, and we have the sound.
Just a little friendly reminder.
Yes.
It's been, 3 years since this occurrence, since Scott Walker was a failed presidential candidate.
Well, it just seems like yesterday.
That was the last time he ran for office. Didn't even make it to the Hawkeye Caucus. I mean, 0 votes.
$90,000 a day.
Do you think he's burning $90,000 a day on his gubernatorial re-election campaign? Do you think he'll make it to the primary, Dom? Someone should primary him from the center, from the sensible side, from the sane side, from the good governance side.
That's a great idea, Crudy.
But no, they stand with Walker.
Let's remind everybody the last time a GOP leader was in England. Here's Scott Walker at the Chatham House, embarrassing everybody. Cut 14.
Can I finish with a question that it's almost a tradition now to ask visiting, particularly senior Republicans who come to London, and it's not about cheese, and it's not about foreign affairs. It's actually about evolution. Are you comfortable with the idea of evolution? Do you believe in it? Do you accept it?
For me, I'm going to punt on that one as well.
No.
That does you
really?
That's a question a politician shouldn't be involved in one way or the other on. So I'm going to leave that up to you.
But any British politician, right or left wing, would laugh and say, yes, of course evolution's true. But
to me, I said it's just one of those where I'm here to talk about trade, not to pontificate on other issues. I love the evolution of trade in Wisconsin. Yeah. It's going well, and I'd like to see an even bigger evolution as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely to talk to you.
Please, it's too much winning.
All he wanted to talk about was cheese.
Not a question a politician should be involved with one way or the other. Why? Why is that not a logical question? Why would you not answer that question?
He's a less than courageous man. He knew that if he gave the heartfelt answer, one must even question. Does Scott Walker believe in evolution?
The preacher's kid?
Yeah. I mean, does he really? Because, of course, creationism, some sort of Adam and Eve, rib of man.
If you believe, if that's your religion, that's what people believe, right? Isn't that the dogma?
But does Scott Walker believe? Offsetting rational science and evolution. Does Scott Walker believe? Does his faith extend to that degree? Let's not forget, God told him to get into the presidential race.
That was before God told him to get out.
Well, God forsake him, Dom, apparently. Now maybe he's turned his back on God. Perhaps now he believes in evolution. Wisconsin's evolving rapidly.
Maybe, Crudy, I've been wrong this whole time. Maybe there is a God, and that's why Scott Walker did not become president. But then maybe there's not because Trump is.
Yeah, that's the quandary.
I don't know.
Ye have little faith. Well, Dom, quite frankly, from Michelle Bachmann to Scott Walker to Jeb Bush to Rick Santorum, do you think God's got like a party line, just calls up every semi-notable Fox News wannabe Republican and says, if I were you, I'd all get in the field at once. I'm telling you and you and you and you. It's like likes on Facebook. God's likes, like Scott Walker, go run. Michelle Bachmann, Rick Santorum, all you politicians of righty faith.
If you believe the words that come out of Scott Walker's mouth when he says that.
Okay, if that's sincerely his belief, and I don't mean to interrupt you, my friend, but if sincerely you are a God-fearing man, and that is your heartfelt, faithful belief, state it.
Then why not say, no, I don't believe in evolution. I believe God created
I believe in
man.
creation.
Yeah.
And God's a wonderful, vast thing, and perhaps God changed his mind and let some things slip from here to there. And, but of course, evolution implies change.
But where does faith lie on, in the political realm? I mean, that's a fair enough question. I stand on
faith.
it. I mean, I know, but you always say, I'm the atheist here. And what do people, what's the conventional wisdom? No atheist could ever win an elected position. Now, of course, I don't believe that, but that's generally been my understanding of how politics has been in this country over the centuries.
I want to start an argument in maybe the happy hour. I am so sick of conservatives, evangelicals, and even some of the Democrats, liberals, call them what you will. I'm so sick of the labels in the fact that, Scott Walker can't answer a question sincerely because he's such a politician. It's such a spin. It's such a calculated triangulation. Back then it was for Iowa caucus voters that he never even made it to. But he couldn't even answer a straight question honestly. Faithfully, as a preacher's kid.
As a man of faith,
as a God-fearing man,
say,
no, I don't believe, or I think God's so great that he can change it. Everything's changing all the time because it's God's will. But give a freaking answer. Have some backbone.
Punt.
The man punts. He punts, Dom. There's so little courage in this man, and it's all platitudes. It's all just coloring between the lines, not saying anything to offend those. Chin up the base. Let's not forget this guy that didn't want to politicize science is more than willing to politicize. Wants to send Wisconsin National Guard troops to the southern border. We're half a country away. Why would you politicize the Wisconsin National Guard?
We're like the entire country away.
We'd be better off guarding the northern border that Scott Walker talked about at the Iowa State Fair because Casey Hunt shook him a little bit because the protesters were chasing him that day. He gets very intimidated. He often has to punt.
Well, when he says he's not intimidated, of course, he is intimidated.
He's projecting.
He's a hell of a projector, and he's a divide and conqueror. That's his political ways.
But he's no preacher's kid, or he'd stand up and stand by his God.
Stand
by your man, Scott Walker. Stand by your God.
Dad was asked that question, if Scott Walker, the preacher Walker, was asked that question, how do you think he would have replied?
Come back with us. We'll do more Singing to the Faithful right here on the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. 844-967-2789. Your comments, your takes. Welcome here. Bring it, Scott Walker. Answer a question, you wuss. Wanker.
I love being governor.
Scotty's on fire.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
There is no God.
No, I'm going to stay for a while. How about that? Freedom.
It's a bit nutty.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crude special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Have you got your head in the clouds on how to manage IT for your enterprise? We can make your dreams a reality. With our enterprise cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting, we'll manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Consider Five Nines your personal enterprise IT solution. Enjoy technology. For more information, visit fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
You've packed the smartphones, headphones, tablets, water snacks, cooler, sunscreen, bikes, skateboards, games, videos, sunglasses.
There's no room for people in here.
Just don't wimp out on the most important thing.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
No, seatbelts. Whether it's a long haul or short trip,
It's a win-win situation.
never give up until they buckle up. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
and has made his political career
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
by using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
First step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions, because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely.
Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
On Thursday, April 12th at 1:45 p.m. and 6:45 p.m., WRRD 1510 a.m. and WTTN 1580 a.m. will participate in Wisconsin's statewide tornado drills. These are only tests and will last for 1 minute. When the tests are finished, we will return to normal programming. These tornado drills are an excellent opportunity for you and your family to prepare for the upcoming severe weather season and to practice your emergency plans. To learn more, go to readywisconsin.wi.gov.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
You're listening to the radio show your mother warned you about. Dom and Krutz are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, also streaming on YouTube, Facebook. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio and the party line 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I wonder sometimes if the audience truly appreciates the levels, the multitude of clever going on during any broadcast of this fine program. I mean, it's like an onion. You got to peel it.
I don't know, man. I don't think anybody appreciates it as much as we do.
Super coolly, oniony to the core. We're like a bloomin' onion. Dom, Robin Voss not paying the freight. Perhaps he will explain himself, but don't hold your breath. But Dale Coenga tried to, and we had a little fun at Dale Coenga's expense because Dale had some really inexplicable responses to why he would steal a permitted protester sign from the Wisconsin State Capitol. Army training, sir. Really, Dale?
It represented, a risk because it was, a flat sign on an easel on a curved wall, and you didn't want to get into details because if he did, with his military training, if he told us all the secrets, he'd have to kill us.
Razzle dazzle! 1, 2, 3, 4!
The video's been released now. It's not like he did a low crawl in. It's not like he was doing like the old Miami Vice, where you like Crockett and Tubbs with like. I mean, if your military training, if your PTSD is kicked in, whatever it is,
you'd have tackled that sign as soon as you walked in the door,
or treated it, suspiciously and not more like responded to it with disgust and grabbed it and left.
Do you think if you were really concerned and maybe there was like a bomb behind it that you would put your coffee down first before you go and
call the bomb squad?
Right. He was carrying coffee or something.
We don't know what consumables. There was that one beer summit day. Dale was amongst the more summity
a little thick tongue that day.
Yeah, he was. But he's a tall, skinny guy. You're a short, stout guy, and you drink like a like a big dog, not like a little dog. But Dom, at least he's doing the right thing. He's paying the state taxpayers back. He's not putting us on the hook. Thank goodness a Republican doing the right thing after being humiliated right here on the Devil's Advocates radio show. Well, it took a little public flogging for Dale to do the right thing, Dom.
Once again, reporting Patrick Marley and Jason Stein from the Journal-Sentinel, Coenga said Wednesday he would reimburse taxpayers $30,000 to settle a lawsuit, just as the state released video footage showing Coenga removing a protest sign critical of Republicans from a public area of the Capitol. Coenga has given various explanations at different times for taking the sign last year, saying that he did so as a joke, that he thought the sign was inappropriate, and that he believed it created a safety hazard because it could have hidden something dangerous.
Now, we've been accused of all three of those things right here at the Devil's Advocate show.
Coenga initially said taxpayers would cover the cost of the settlement, but changed course Wednesday and said he would pay for it with the help of others. Get by with a little help from my friends.
Does that mean that Dale Coenga has a criminal defense fund?
Well, Walker does.
Walker did, and anonymous donors, he has never disclosed who put the $500,000, talking about Scott Walker. Coenga, he can probably make it with $30,000 from the donors and like $5 from Pops.
He did not clarify whether he planned to use campaign funds to cover the cost.
Mom, Dad, can I borrow $30,000?
Now, let's think about this in the context of what the annual salary is for lawmakers. It's like 50 and change, right? $50,000, 51,000, something like that.
His critics have called Coenga's claims about safety laughable. Let's not forget, he landed later in a town hall that we played some of the sound of on his military training. Here's a quote. My senator, John Erpenbach, says, how does he even get through an intersection? Because there's lots of signs at intersections, meaning Coenga was claiming he thought, there was an IED and a bomb behind the sign? I read on. He thought there could be an IED behind it, ? Come on, said Johnson's attorney, Lester Pines, referring to an improvised explosive device. Didn't mean to steal his punchline. Pines gave Coenga credit for agreeing to pay the settlement, but said he believed the decision was politically motivated. Yes, transparently politically motivated, given that Coenga is running for the state Senate. Here's the quote from Pines. I think politically he realized he wouldn't stand much of a chance of getting elected if he didn't pay the taxpayers back. It would dog him through the campaign. Well, what, we're going to forget?
No, we're not going to forget.
Coenga, you just blew $30,000. We're going to tar and feather you with this either way. Most importantly, realistically, Dale, the reason we're giving you such a hard time, Because you didn't come here and explain yourself. Stand up like a man and say,
we did reach
I
out.
screwed up.
I didn't. You reached out, right?
He hasn't circled round like the...
Oh, that's right.
You know, they changed the voicemail because he used to promise to circle round, and now they don't circle round no more, Dom. They just circle the wagons, call the donors, and pay the hush money.
Well, and here's the deal. Do you give the guy any credit for finally doing perhaps the right thing, maybe paying it back with other people's money? I'll believe it all when the check clears.
Let's ask the audience. 844-967-2789. Few minutes left in this segment. We can carry it over the top. But Dale Coinga, he's from Brookfield. He's in the 5th Senate District. We covered that district right here. You've got to make a decision. Is Dale your kind of guy? Well, we'll get to the phones right now. 844-967-2789. Should we forgive Mr. Coinga? Captain Coinga to you, Dom.
Paul, what do you think?
No, but I'll tell you what. The greatest ever political ad is Trump trashing Walker. It's the greatest ever. Makes me laugh every day. And one thing about Trump, his GOP imposed term limits. That's a good thing, right? You guys have a great day, Devil.
Hey, Paul, I wish that we could take credit for the fine work of our friends and fine sponsors at the People for People Corporation. But whoever does the media work for that group, man, they're clever.
Yeah, they're
super duper cool and clever.
Creative, funny, good looking. I mean, those are some fine people at the People.
When they come in and produce ads here at the WRD studios, because we make that concession to them, they're some of the coolest people you ever wanted to meet. The People for People Corporation. Find them at p4ppc.org. Always support our sponsors right here on Resistance Radio, 1510 AM. Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 AM, Columbus and Madison. Dom, you think the Republicans are getting the signs yet?
Well, yeah, they have a habit of taking them. I don't know if they read them and understand them and would ever adjust their behavior because of those signs.
Do you think, the journalists at the Journal-Sentinel have just been waiting with all these bad headlines, or do you think they produce new bad headlines daily, these Republicans? I mean, between Voss and Coinga, these are two guys... You could really launch a re-election campaign on these fine headlines. All the earned media they're getting right here on WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Your calls welcome. Do you forgive Deal? 844-967-2789.
Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
It's a bit nutty.
Citizen Action of Wisconsin invites you to a fundraiser for Voces de la Frontera on Friday, April 20th from 5 to 8 p.m. The event will be held at the Milwaukee Labor Council located at 633 Hawley Road in Milwaukee. This is a potluck dinner. Please bring a dish to share. The suggested donation is $25. The event is co-sponsored by Grassroots South Shore, the Progressive Moms of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Turners, the Milwaukee Teachers Association, and Indivisible TOSA.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Timing the attack. The Mexican Godfather. I'm Michael Toscano.
We'll see what happens, folks. We'll see what happens.
President Trump hinting about military action in Syria over its suspected use of chemical weapons. The president has been meeting with his national security team, but the White House has just said no decision has been made. And Mr. Trump will speak with French President Macron and British Prime Minister May. Correspondent Omar Jimenez reports on attack timing issues.
Complicating any sort of military strike are the fact-finding teams from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons expected to start work on the ground there Saturday to investigate whether chemical substances were used. According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 500 patients exhibited signs and symptoms consistent with exposure to toxic chemicals.
Secretary of State nominee and the current CIA Director Mike Pompeo promised today at his Senate confirmation hearing that he'd break from President Trump if necessary, that he'd take a tough line with Russia, and that he wants to fix the Iran nuclear deal. The former Army tank commander also taking on his hardline image.
The story is, I'm a hawk, I'm a hardliner. Or, I read that, and there's no one like someone who served in uniform, who understands the value of diplomacy and the terror and tragedy that is war, like someone who served in uniform.
Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker says he's hoping for a committee vote on Pompeo next Monday. The FBI is putting a veteran Mexican drug lord on its 10 most wanted list. FBI Deputy Director David Bowditch says Rafael Caro Quintero killed an American drug enforcement agent in 1985, but was mistakenly released from a jail in Mexico in 2013 and resumed his drug trade.
He's considered one of the Mexican godfathers of drug trafficking. He helped to form the Guadalajara cartel in the late 1970s. And he became one of the primary suppliers of heroin, cocaine, and marijuana to the United States.
Big gains on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed 294 points higher. The S&P added 22 points. The Nasdaq gained 71.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m., and Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Tony Stewart and the parents of Kevin Ward Jr. have agreed to settle a wrongful death lawsuit filed by Ward's parents against the now retired NASCAR star for his role in the death of their son.
Oh, he hit him! Tony Stewart just hit that guy!
Ward was 20 years old when he was killed in August of 2014 during a sprint car race on dirt at Canandaigua Motorsports Park in western New York. Ward spun and crashed after contact with Stewart's car. He climbed out while the race was still going on, but under a caution flag, and began walking down the dimly lit track in an apparent attempt to confront Stewart. He was struck by the back right tire of Stewart's car and died of blunt force trauma. The 46-year-old Stewart spent weeks in seclusion after the accident. He later retired after the 2016 season. Details of the arrangement were not disclosed. A jury trial had been set to begin on May 7th. I'm John Stolness.
Ward's mother says she's not satisfied that she really wanted a trial. I'm Michael Toscano.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan said he does not plan to run for office ever again. Ryan announced yesterday that he will retire from Congress in January. Wisconsin farmers are showing a strong interest in growing industrial hemp. State lawmakers approved a plan in November that allows farmers to grow the crop as a research pilot program permitted by the 2014 Farm Bill. 30 other states have started similar programs. Uses for industrial hemp include rope, clothing, milk, cooking oil, soap, lotions, building materials, animal bedding, and biofuels. Partly sunny this afternoon, then a 70% chance of rain tonight, lows in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the mid-40s. For Saturday, rain likely, windy and cold with highs only in the upper 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We've got a last-minute addition to the lineup. A fine one indeed. Our friend Mark Pocan, a congressman, my congressman. Mark, welcome back. I understand you're almost a last-minute scratch as well. Did Paul Ryan know you were coming on the show? Is he messing with us?
I don't know. I mean, my phone's probably tapped here. No, they just called a vote, but I've got about 5 minutes, and then I can hustle across, so it's no worries.
Got to get your reaction. Paul Ryan not running for re-election. Mark, you've been down there, the only congressman doing town halls in his district for some number of months. What's your reaction to Paul Ryan leaving?
You know, I mean, two things. One, I mean, it was a tough job being speaker, and when he became speaker, he gave the keys to the Tea Party by continuing the Hastert rule. That was his fault. It pretty much hamstringed him the entire time he was speaker. And then second, he, became a junior White House staffer rather than a leader of a co-equal branch of government. Those two things combined made it a pretty awful 2.5 years for him and, quite honestly, for everybody else. And I think, he just decided this is a good time to get out of it and spend time with his family, and he is a good family guy. So, I think the fact that he is not running probably has a lot to do also with November, the blue wave coming, and the fact that Randy Bryce is running a pretty amazing campaign in the 1st Congressional District. So those two things combined, I guess I'm not shocked, although I don't think he gave people a lot of time to get ready for starting to circulate nomination papers on Sunday.
Now, Randy Bryce going to join this big show tomorrow at 4:30, Mark. You've got another town hall tomorrow night in Madison. It will be at the Madison Labor Temple. Your guest, and you, of course, one of the headliners, but your guest, Congressman DNC Deputy Chair Keith Ellison. You folks will be talking about what exactly, Mark, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Madison?
Sure. Well, it's specifically a conversation, not even so much a town hall, it's a conversation about health care. We want to have people, talk to us about what they would like to see Congress do. Keith Ellison took over the Medicare for All bill from John Conyers, who left Congress, and, we are doing some revamping to it, but we want to know what people think about health care, and this is a great opportunity to talk to the person who's the lead, congressional House sponsor on a single-payer health care system, Keith Ellison, and myself, who's been a strong advocate and working with Keith. And we just really want to hear from people and make sure that we're putting the very best foot forward on this issue, especially if we have a chance to take the majority.
Well, leave a little meat on the bone. I'm going to get there as early as I can. Tomorrow, Friday, April 13th, 7 to 8 p.m. Doors open at 6:30. Madison Labor Temple, our friend Mark Pocan and Keith Ellison doing a conversation with the people tomorrow. Look forward to it. You mentioned Randy Bryce. You mentioned the town hall you did last weekend in Janesville with Randy Bryce. I got to ask you, there's been a shakeup, obviously, in the perception of this race in the 1st Congressional District. And Mark, I don't know if you've been listening out in D.C. or anyone's advised you. I've been a little bit harsh on you a couple times, and you're a friend. We love you, Mark. But let me ask you the question, sir. As much as I complained about Hillary Clinton and the Bernie race in the state of Wisconsin during the Wisconsin primaries, and the fact that nobody really jumped in and endorsed on behalf of Bernie, despite the fact that seemed to be the sentiment of big parts of the electorate, including Madison and Dane County. Here's my question. Bernie Sanders, and now you, sir, have jumped in support of Randy Bryce. And early in this race, Mark, that seemed like sound logic. We had to do all hands on deck to get Randy Bryce elected. But now that Speaker Paul Ryan is out of the race and we've got to re-triangulate what this race may hold for the voters, is there any 2020 hindsight regret on endorsing so early when I still see Kathy Myers as a viable candidate?
Well, I disagree on the second part. And the first part, I think Randy is exactly what the 1st District needs. Don't forget, I grew up in Kenosha, in the eastern part of it. The western part, my husband's from. I know that district second only to my own, the 2nd Congressional District. And, 14,000 people used to make cars in Kenosha. No one does today. 7,000 in Janesville, 2,000 more make car parts. No one does today. I think people are going to connect really well with an authentic iron worker who's a survivor of cancer, who is not a multimillionaire going into Congress. I think he is exactly what we need in Congress. So I haven't changed it an inch. I mean, Randy is going to be an excellent member of Congress, and now with the Republicans maybe having a primary, we don't know yet, all the more we are in position to pick up that seat as one of the seats we need to get the majority, and we'll put a goalie in place from Donald Trump's agenda. So and I'm sure Senator Sanders are both still very excited about Randy's campaign.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Congressman Mark Pocan joins us on the phone. Mark, how are we doing on time, sir?
I got a minute 55.
All right, want to get your reaction. Obviously, lots of news this week. Donald Trump's attorney has been, his offices at home were raided. Mumblings around Washington again that the president might fire Mueller, might fire Rosenstein. Want to get your take, sir. If the president does either one of those things, what do you think should happen?
Well, we are working with a coalition of a whole bunch of groups around the country, and we are ready that the minute it happens, they actually have it 2 different times of the day, depending when a firing could happen of either Rosenstein or of Mueller, that there are going to be rallies around the country. I mean, this would be, I think, crossing the red line for Congress. If he does this, we've heard that also from Republicans, but more importantly, it's where the people are at. And I think you're going to see giant, massive rallies across the country if he even attempts to do that. The good news is we're organized, we're ready, and we're working with groups like Move On and Indivisible, DFA, and all the other groups around the country to make this happen.
White House is undermining Rosenstein right now. That seems to be the precursor to firing Mueller. Mark, how close to reality is this constitutional crisis, the firing of the special counsel?
I think if the president does it, 1, he's misjudging where the public's at on this, and 2, he probably just showed the final card in his hand, and that card is the I'm guilty card, right? I mean, if he actually does this, the only reason he'd do it is because they're about to bust him on something. And, again, it would be a huge miscalculation. You just got to remember Richard Nixon, and I think you'll know where this is going to go.
Our good friend, Congressman Mark Pocan, thanks for joining us. Mark, go vote.
Thank you, guys.
And we will see you, at least I'll see you tomorrow, Mark, at the Town Hall in Madison, Friday, April 13th, 7 to 8 p.m., Madison Labor Temple, a conversation with Congressman Mark Pocan and DNC Deputy Chair Keith Ellison. We're the Devil's Advocates. We got all kinds of good friends. Come back with us right here. Join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
I'm really proud of what we've been able to do.
What a dope. What a maroon.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I gotta tell you, so when I first moved to Green Bay to play football in '92, I had never been to Wisconsin. But the funniest thing I thought, you could not buy hamburger patties without a dollop of butter on them.
Folks, just so you know, if you take a little bit of herb butter and put it in the middle of a patty and just kind of mold it around there, you get magic. I have one of my arteries right now.
How much did you say you weighed?
I'm gaining weight with my thoughts right now.
You're $3 and some change already, brother.
Guns Butter Economics, 414 Wisconsin, weekdays 2 to 3 p.m. on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Wisconsin Republican Attorney General Brad Schimmel claims he will further investigate the investigators of the John Doe 2 investigation because it was all a partisan witch hunt. Wisconsin State Rep Chris Taylor said this.
There is absolutely no concern expressed by this Attorney General or these Republican legislators about the underlying criminal conduct that this corruption investigation revealed. Scott Walker was breaking laws.
And Brad Schimmel fails to acknowledge the 6 criminal convictions, 4 felonies in the Scott Walker John Doe 1. Was that also a partisan witch hunt?
One newspaper has done a good job. It's a national paper, the Wall Street Journal.
And AG Schimmel filed an embarrassing hack partisan bull report where he's still looking for the leaker. Get a clue! Wasn't it Eric O'Keefe from Wisconsin Club for Growth?
Well, it's I was born to do this.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hey, Batman here. Matt Rothschild from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Hoping you'll support us as we track all that dark money that's splattering your screens with mud. You can count on us to tell you who really runs Wisconsin, and it's not Walker, Fitzgerald, and Voss. They're just the water boys for the Koch brothers, WMC, the NRA, and Diane Hendricks. You can find all this out at our website at wisdc.org, and while you're there, please send us a donation so we can keep after these bad guys.
Today we decided to walk to school. The light counted. 15, 14.
13?
We took a left on Carroll Street. Danny's smart, but he gets distracted. He realized he forgot his homework. I hope he doesn't have another bad day at school.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org. Brought to you by Understood and the Ad Council.
Hey, dude, quit bogarting. Tom and Crute are the devil's advocates.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can find us on YouTube and Twitter. We're streaming video there right now. We are on the phones at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, who's the best last-minute booker in the business?
You are.
I am. Thank you, Congressman Mark Pocan. I think we booked him at like 3 o'clock. He appeared at 4 o'clock. He's a good guy. Please join my friend Mark Pocan and his special guest, Keith Ellison. Tomorrow night, they are going to be at the Madison Labor Temple, you know, the one over at 1602 South Park Street. That's Friday, April 13th, 7 to 8 p.m. Doors open at 6:30. Hope to see you there.
Right on, man. So, Crudy, Congressman.
And as I pointed out, sorry to interrupt, just so I don't forget.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
man.
do it all the time.
You do it all the time.
I'm such a rude bastard.
You are.
Randy Bryce, I think we're all locked in and confirmed tomorrow for 4:30. The fine Democratic congressional candidate. You got to keep them all straight in your head. Randy Bryce joins this fine show tomorrow at 4:30 Central Time. Please check your local listings.
All right. So, Crudy, Eric Erickson, he is a conservative.
Red State guy.
Yeah, and he put this out yesterday.
I think he used to be a fan of Walker.
Erickson was?
I think so.
Aren't all conservatives? They were one time a fan of Walker until they actually talked to him and
he was like their favorite
interacted with them.
White bread.
Here is a article from Eric Erickson, and I think you will find it amusing. A congressman's profanity-laced tirade in a Safeway grocery store. One of the president's congressional defenders has privately decided that he hates Trump and wants to unload. Here's a quote.
Don't we all hate Trump?
If we're going to lose because of him, we might as well impeach the mother effer, said the congressman as we roamed the aisles of a Safeway grocery store together. I haven't been in a Safeway since my family moved home from Dubai in 1990. The congressman did not want to be seen with me on Capitol Hill. He needed to get some stuff anyway and decided he'd let me walk with him through the cereal and dairy selections at the Safeway near my hotel.
Some Cheerios for breakfast. You know, we all got to eat.
I love cereal. He is not happy with President Trump, writes Eric Erickson. He was a never die-hard Trump supporter. He was never, I'm sorry, let me repeat that. He was never a die-hard Trump supporter. He supported him in the general and never expected him to win, but he did.
Kind of like all of us.
So the congressman whose district Trump won has been a regular supporter on Fox News and elsewhere defending the president. He is happy to be quoted so long as I don't name him. He says he just needed to vent. I suggest what we're doing is one of the reasons Trump won. A congressman says nice things in public and bad things in private. Everybody does this crap, he says. It's his turn. We have known each other for years and have been promising to connect this week, and I'm passing through D.C., so this is it. I'm passing along his comments, not endorsing them. So,
now, are you replacing some profanities with other words, Tom?
I am going to have to.
You're censoring in real time.
Hey, I'm not censoring. I'm following the censorers, which are the FCC. But I continue.
FCC!
I read you writing about this and wanting to say nice things when you can and criticize when you don't. He may be an idiot, but he's still the president and leader of my party, and he is capable of doing some things right. He says before conceding that it's usually other people doing things right, the right things in the president's name. But the quote continues. But damn it, he is taking all of us down with him. We are well and truly effed in November. Kevin McCarthy is already circling like a green fly circling crap, trying to take Paul Ryan's job because nobody thinks he's sticking around for Nancy Pelosi. She's going to F up the cafeteria again, too. Lord's name in vain. At least I'll probably lose, too, and won't have to put up with that crap. He won't lose. His district is very Republican, writes Erickson. What's the problem, though? Well, get ready. Here's the quote from the anonymous congressman to Eric Erickson. It's like Forrest Gump won the presidency, but an evil, really effing stupid Forrest Gump. He can't help himself. He's just an effing idiot who thinks he's winning when people are bitching about him. He really does see the world as ratings and attention. I hate Forrest Gump. I listened to your podcast and heard you hate it too. What an overrated piece of crap movie. Can you believe it beat Shawshank Redemption?
What?
I know, they're kind of like in and out of this conversation. But let's stay on with Trump. Again.
Has Eric Erickson never heard of editing? I mean, I've had lots of conversations that meander, but one would hope you could edit it down to just the heart of the matter, right, Dom?
Well,
for the sake of the reader and the listener.
Amen, brother. The judiciary, here's again the quote from the congressman. The judiciary is stacked with a bunch of people who can win re-election so long as they don't piss off Trump voters in the primary. But if we get to summer and most of the primaries are over, they just might pull the trigger if the president fires Mueller. The S will hit the fan if that happens, and I'd vote to impeach him myself. Most of us would, I think. Hell, the Democrats would and you only need a majority in the House. If we're going to lose because of him, we may as well impeach the mother effer. Take him out with us and let Pence take over. At least then we could sleep well at night, he said, before going off on a tangent about how the situations with Russia and China scare him. Then, quote, you know, having Mike as president would really piss off all the right people, too. They think they hate Trump. Mike is competent. At which point he sighs and laments that there were, in his mind, more than a dozen competent choices in 2016. So the implication...
What about Scott Walker? Was he one of them?
More than a dozen? So the implication is they wouldn't vote for impeachment if they might be opposed in the primaries, I asked. He confirmed he does not think the voters are there to impeach the president if any of the Judiciary Committee members are facing primary opponents. But get through that, and if Mueller is fired, he thinks so and thinks a majority of the House would vote to impeach President Trump. Here's a quote. I say a lot of S on TV defending him, even over this. But honestly, I wish the mother effer would just go away. We're going to lose the House, lose the Senate, lose a bunch of states because of him. All his supporters will blame us for what we have or have not done, but he hasn't led. He wakes up in the morning, S's all over Twitter, S's all over us, S's all over his staff, then hits golf balls. F him! Of course, I can't say that in public or I'd get run out of town.
Name names!
This is what I'm
you
saying.
chicken ass congressman.
The congressman's base loves the president, and we're done. He feels better having let it all out. It was a funny conversation with a few additional remarks about the president's personal life I dare not print.
You know, it's got to be the fact that Trump wants to have sex with his daughter, right? That's the part that, you know, even Eric Erickson says there's a line and we shouldn't cross it because, you know, he probably said it in a profane way, Dom.
You think? And finally, Erickson wraps it up. And yes, I agree. It is bad form to say all this in private while publicly praising the president. Welcome to Donald Trump's Washington. Everybody does this S here.
A lot of Senator Shatton going on in that piece by Eric Erickson. Where'd you find this fine piece?
I saw musings about it on the internet and tracked down his original source.
I don't know who's going on the record, but that party's going down. I mean, they merged their agenda with Donald Trump. Yeah. Donald Trump is the most corrupt businessman / politician / human being I really can ever recall. I mean, there's mobsters with a better record than this guy's got, and he's the president of the United States, and he only got there with the complicit Republicans, right?
Yes.
Because they wanted those damn tax cuts and to repeal and replace Obamacare and to stick it to the Democrats on the Supreme Court. But mostly they wanted tax cuts for the rich.
Well, you get what you pay for, right?
Well, you've married Donald Trump. You know, he's got like 235 Melanias running around. And I don't mean porn stars. I mean Republican Congress people. And Dominic, new rumors coming out. I'm sure these are going to enhance their re-election chances. Donald Trump allegedly has a love baby. We'll tell you all about it. We go down together right here on the Devil's Advocates radio show. 844-967-2789.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Yeah, she's hot.
We're like the stupid people.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Well, you are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Ooh, I just felt a trickle down. No, I don't recall doing it.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
It could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Despite previous setbacks, the Walker administration is now trying to open up another remote woodland to all-terrain vehicles. The Turtle Flambeau Scenic Waters area covers more than 8,000 acres of submerged land and about 200 islands in Iron County near the border with Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Until recently, the majority of political campaigns were run by men, but now things are changing. A story in the Cap Times points out that of the 9 Democratic campaigns for governor with hired staff, 7 of them are run by women. And the Bucks lost last night to the 76ers 130-95. Their first playoff game is Sunday against the Celtics. Partly sunny this afternoon, then a 70% chance of rain tonight, lows in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the mid-40s. For Saturday, rain likely, windy and cold with highs only in the upper 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
The Devil's Advocates, radio for the 99%.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We appreciate you joining us each weekday afternoon between 3 and 6 right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio Network, 1510 AM Waukesha, Milwaukee, 1580 AM Columbus, Madison. You can live stream us at News Talk 1510 AM or CruteandDom.com or DomandCrute.com. And I brought this up during the break. I was talking to Big Fancy Brian in there. Alexa, it's easy to listen to us on an Alexa. You just ask Alexa to play WRRD on TuneIn. WRRD on TuneIn. Alexa, play WRRD on TuneIn. That's all it takes. I do that now all the time at the house. It's so easy.
Well, you have one of those spies in your house, huh?
Yeah, that and the bugs from the NSA and the Trump administration. I got a few from Walker, so.
And that Facebook on your phone. Hell, you're covered.
I am a traveling cavalcade of opposition trolling.
Lots of data you generate, Michael.
Dominic, you know, when you dig for opposition research, sometimes you find something and you, catch and kill it, at least if you're the National Enquirer. Another story breaking about a catch and kill by the National Enquirer, and this one, involves Scott Walker. No, but there is a similarity because it involves an allegation of a love baby against Donald Trump. And let's not forget, there's also an allegation about a love baby
Was
Scott Walker. But
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
I think
Well, that was
true.
a Scott P. Walker. That's
Hashtag
Scott, like he doesn't know. Like, I don't know if I had a love baby in college.
Was it true? It was a Scott Walker, a Scott P. Walker. I'm Scott Kevin Walker.
I'm going to have to punt on that one, Crudy.
You know, we did talk to the attorney of the woman that still to this day, most recently when we spoke with her fine legal counsel, the Scott Walker accuser stands by her story.
She would know if she has Scott Walker's baby.
Well, it wasn't her, though. It was her college roommate. She stood up in the wedding. She was there at the delivery room. They were those kind of friends. One must assume she has some sense of the paternity of her best friend's kid. But, you know, I'm sure it was a Scott P. Walker and someone just got confused about who they had sex with.
Maybe there's a non-disclosure agreement in place somewhere for
an NDA.
Yeah, for the Scott Walker love child.
Well, this one's a little befuddling, Dom. This newest payoff apparently paid to what the doorman. I mean, is the doorman supposed to accept responsibility for the love child? I'm not sure. To squelch the rumors that Donald Trump impregnated his housekeeper. Is that how I'm understanding the reporting, Dom?
The AP is reporting, Crudy, 8 months before the company that owns the National Enquirer paid $150,000 to a former Playboy playmate who claimed she had an affair with Donald Trump. The tabloid's parents made a $30,000 payment to a less famous individual, a former doorman at one of the real estate mogul's New York City buildings.
They just pay off random people.
Random doormen, random porn stars,
but
random
Trump
playmates.
Never does any of it. It's all denied.
Well, everyone else is paying. Trump doesn't pay.
My attorney's money, right? Didn't come out of the slush fund or nothing. And
No.
don't worry about whatever has been gathered by the Mueller team. I'm sure, well, technically it's not even Mueller's team, although Mueller will get fired over it. It's the Southern New York Federal Prosecutor's Office that actually executed the warrants on Cohen's office, home, and hotel room. He's got a nice spot to shack up.
But that was approved by Rosenstein.
Yes, and Rosenstein met with Trump at the White House earlier today.
Oh, I wonder how that coffee meeting went.
My understanding, reporting is the White House intends to undermine Rosenstein, say he's too conflicted, so he must go, and then you can fire Mueller. But back to the love baby, Dom.
Back to the doorman, continuing from the AP. As it did with the ex-playmate, the Enquirer signed the ex-doorman to a contract that effectively prevented him from going public with a juicy tale that might hurt Trump's campaign for president. The payout to the former playmate, Karen McDougal, stayed a secret until the Wall Street Journal published a story about it days before Election Day.
You still correcting me? You think you're Zepecki over here?
What are you talking about?
I haven't misstated that playmate's name in weeks. But here's my question. How's Trump keep them all straight in his head? Stormy, Karen, doorman. How's he keep them all straight?
Hey, baby. What's up, girl? How you doing, dude?
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
Since then, curiosity about that deal has spawned intense media coverage, and this week helped prompt the FBI to raid the hotel room and offices of Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen. The story of the ex-doorman, Dino Sajudin, hasn't been told until now. The Associated Press confirmed the details of the Enquirer's payment through a review of a confidential contract and interviews with dozens of current and former employees of the Enquirer and his parent company, American Media, Inc.
Dino, that was the name of the dog on the Flintstones, right?
I think you're right, yeah. Dino got $30,000 in exchange for signing over the rights, quote, in perpetuity, unquote, to a rumor he heard about Trump's sex life, that the president had fathered a child with an employee at Trump World Tower, a skyscraper he owns near the United Nations. The contract subjected Dino to a $1 million penalty if he disclosed either the rumor or the terms of the deal to anyone.
Now, is there a very orange-tinted kid with a blonde pompadour
walking around?
I mean, are people starting to look and say, that kid doesn't, something's not right? Have you ever seen Schwarzenegger's illicit offspring? They look a lot like Schwarzenegger.
It's funny how the children sometimes look like the parents. So there you go, Crudy. I guess that's the meat of it. The AP goes into all sorts of more detail
and Cohen
regarding this.
Also paid off? Is that what the juice, the gist?
Well, AMI doesn't go around cutting checks for $30,000 and not using information, said Jerry George, a reporter and senior editor for nearly 3 decades at AMI before his layoff in 2013. The company said that AMI's publisher, David Pecker, is an unabashed Trump supporter, had not coordinated its coverage with Trump associates or taken direction from Trump. It acknowledged discussing the former doorman's tip with Trump representatives, which it described as standard operating procedure in stories of this nature.
You think David Pecker's got a brother named Richard Pecker?
844-967-2789. But Crudy, you pulled
the
it.
layers of clever on the show. It's like a club sandwich of clever.
a juvenile club sandwich. But Crudy, the raw story.
This is what I do for entertainment. I join you on the radio each day. I don't know if people understand this. We're really here for self-gratification.
Yes. Well, and a little therapy. We do love the music, too. Dino Sajidin, the former Trump Tower doorman who got paid $30,000 to keep silent over rumors he heard about President Donald Trump's fathering an out-of-wedlock child with a Trump Organization employee, has now gone on the record. In an interview with the Washington Post, Dino hit back at the Trump Organization for calling him a liar after he told the National Enquirer what he knew about Trump secretly fathering an out-of-wedlock child. You know I took a polygraph test, he said in response to a Trump Organization statement.
No, he didn't.
That claimed he regularly fabricated stories.
So let's get this straight.
Yes.
Another Trump accuser, when they start casting shade, and that's all they do, they punch back harder. Another Trump accuser has already pre-polygraphed Dom. Or so he says.
Dino also said that he was not surprised to see the news organizations were starting to report on the deals that the National Enquirer had made over the years to catch and kill negative stories about Trump. It seems like the writing is on the wall about that. It's pretty clear, he said, while also noting that the rumor about Trump fathering an illegitimate child had to come out at some point. He was paid $30,000 by the Enquirer for the exclusive rights to a story about Trump's out-of-wedlock child. The tabloid then proceeded to keep a lid on the story entirely in what critics say is part of a long-standing pattern of protecting Trump from additional scandals.
And that was David Pecker, no relation to Dick Pecker. That guy, he's the Trump buddy that keeps catching and killing these stories.
Yeah, he's
paying off porn stars and doormen. I mean, Donald Trump.
He's the publisher.
He talked about his Vietnam, right? You know, because, of course, he was a draft dodger. He never went to Vietnam. Talked about surviving the club scene in New York without catching something, right? That's how he self-described his own Vietnam. No STDs here.
Mm-hmm.
But every story we've heard, whether it's been this Karen McDougal or Stormy Daniels, and even one must assume draw their own conclusions from the accusation of a love baby, this guy's always bareback, right? I mean, he doesn't take precaution.
What? Prophylactic? Condoms? What are those?
So if we know that that is his normal MO, that this guy goes bareback with porn stars and whoever, obviously has a very low threshold, you know, when little Don's ready, he's ready. Well, how did he not impregnate one or more New York socialites, Dom? I suspect there might be a few more. And I suspect some of his prior gifts, donations, one might say, to Planned Parenthood. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
So what about the Republicans? What about the right? What about that GOP, family values?
Another mulligan?
What about this guy? I mean, in Missouri, too, now. Remember, we got the local cat who was on Scott Walker and Speaker Ryan's vice presidential
Ben Sparks
campaign.
The guy with the submissive
sex
slave
for mistreating his sex slave. I mean, how bad is it got to be when you mistreat the sex slave?
Well, when you step outside the contractual boundaries, sometimes contract laws have to, you know, be reviewed and revisited.
Donald Trump, allegedly. No, that's the reporting. That's the AP, folks. I'm not making this up. Do you believe the reporting? Do you think this is possible? The guy apparently passed a polygraph test. Is it true? Is someone going to ask Donald Trump about that? Is that true? And what about the governor from Missouri right now? You hear this guy?
The guy that duct taped the woman, stripped her naked, took pictures.
Yeah, the Republican, and then
later
threatened.
had non-consensual sex with her, or so she alleges. Yeah, I think he's got some problems as well. The party of family values.
Yes.
Thank God they got those tax cuts for the Koch brothers, Dom.
Exactly.
Otherwise, there might be some sort of electoral landslide in the fall. I mean, it really could be bad. Thank goodness for the tax cuts. I've been appreciating those big fat paychecks ever since Paul Ryan and the boys and girls gave them to me. I've seen a little. I will readily admit I've seen a modest shift in the tax withholdings. But quite frankly, it doesn't, account for the fact the entire country is bending over and getting screwed by this administration.
Not just
and at some point, someone's going to be
administration. It's the entire GOP. They've supported this. They wanted this. They've merged their agendas. They sold their soul for a Supreme Court candidate and tax cuts. And now we are dealing with the repercussions. I'd love to know, Republicans, what do you think?
Abstinence only.
What's that?
Keep it in your pants.
What?
You know what most Republicans use, Don? The thoughts and prayers method.
Pull and pray, baby.
We are the devil's advocates. We're praying you're sticking around. Don't mean to offend you conservatives out there.
This is GOP, Republican, family values politics. We're just talking about what the GOP is doing.
You've made your bed. Lie in it, bareback with a porn star. Come back with us. More of us. You on the phones as well. 844-967-2789. Tweet us out at Devil Radio. And don't forget, that is the political party text line. Once again, 844-967-2789. You can pretend like you're still working hard.
But especially the women made me feel good.
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
You are the father.
I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crude special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
My name is Adam Holmes, and I'm proud to be union.
Adam, you're Director of Training for Painters District Council 7. What do you do?
I'm making sure that we're investing in our members. We're providing the safest and best trained painters, glazers, drywall finishers, and trade show workers in the industry, and we also do that at no cost to the taxpayers.
Why hire unions?
Because it costs less to be safe. We keep the contractor on the right side of OSHA and help keep the workmen's comp rates affordable. Join us, Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
The Devil's Advocates.
Tom Perez, chair of the Democratic National Committee. Scott Walker went on something of a Twitter storm, very Trumpian. What do you think this foretells for Scott Walker's future as the governor of the state of Wisconsin?
Wisconsinites have woken up. He talked about we need an optimistic message. How can you make people feel optimistic when you take away their health care? How can you make people optimistic when you take away the right to bargain? How can you make people feel optimistic when you're gerrymandering the heck out of districts?
Radio for the 99%.
Crazy e-bike Lenny, where you been? We've been missing your nonsense on this radio station.
Come on, Trump is all the nonsense you need. But Crazy Lenny's e-bikes has some real sense. 2017, top-of-the-line, cold standard, 60-mile range e-bikes, liquidation price to $900. 60 miles with both pedal and throttle assist. A $2,000 e-bike for $900. This bike is great.
That's crazy.
And it's not fake news.
Go see my friend Lenny, 6017 Odana Road, Madison. Tell him the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Hello, I'm Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200.
In 1903, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters was founded, and our local union was founded in 1935 here in Milwaukee. During the last 115 years, the principles and values for the Teamsters Union have made many improvements for working families, creating a pathway to the American middle class. Teamsters have assisted families and communities in times of need. Currently, our active and retired membership are collectively working to benefit working families across this nation for retirement security and addressing long-term social needs here in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Washington, D.C. American workers do have a voice in the workplace. Let Teamsters Local 200 be part of that action plan for you. For more information, please visit us on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or give us a call at 414-771-6363. TeamstersLocal200.com or 414-771-6363.
Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in the back of your closet. What happened to us? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Okay, maybe I never really fit you right, but I got a lot more Sunday fun days left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. You can join us on the party line, text or call 844-967-2789.
Dominic, about a week ago, I replaced the cracked Foxconn screen on my beloved iPhone.
Yeah, you got a nice new fancy phone there, Kirby.
I mean, buddy, I'd been reading stories through the cracks for like 6-7 months. I refused. And then it got like the phone cancer. It was getting like this black spot. It grew every day. Finally, I had to go and get a new one. But
and your thumb was down to the bone. But besides that,
other than the glass shards in my thumb, it was a fine phone. It was still in working order. But I get the new phone, and I've been off Twitter for a little while, and finally I've got it set back up. And I've been missing those that like to tweet us instead of, let's say, texting us. You can text us at 844-967-2789, or you can be like Scott Kuchka and tweet us at Devil Radio, Devil's Advocates, as complicated as an onion and as simple as a crustless Club Sammy.
Thanks?
Is that what Walker eats? No, he eats the crust, right?
Yeah, man. You don't eat the crust?
White bread? No, I cut the crust off my kid's sandwich every day.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, for Caden. No, Caden doesn't like the crust.
All right.
I do the breakfast. I do the morning shift. And I do the late night shift. I got to get him in bed.
Were you a cut the crust off kind of guy yourself growing up?
My mom never cut the crust off.
Hell no. You eat it. You'll like it. Or go kill your own food.
That's a waste of bread, son.
Right.
You know, I used to get the old chip beef, shat on a shingle. You never had that?
No.
Come on, man. I grew up poor. I don't know about you, but
I don't know what
you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Brian?
Chip beef makes me hungry. I don't know why.
And it's got such an appealing name when it's served in the military.
I don't know what you just said, but it made me hungry. I don't know why.
Shat on a shingle.
That makes me hungry, too.
Yeah. Let's get to the phones. 844-967-2789. Sharing all our gourmet eating experiences. Jake, you ever had the old you-know-what on a shingle? Chip beef on a shingle?
I think at high school once or out school, I was terrible. It was like I was eating I don't know, like tile, or it just was gross.
I had to aspire to toast with cheese soup over the top. That's what the rich families had in my neighborhood.
Ooh. Wow. It must have been a pretty poor neighborhood then. Nah, just kidding. But don't you ask yourself sometimes maybe Mueller should have hired Maury Povich for his paternity knowledge with this? Because it just seems between starting World War III, conspiring with Russia, the other big triangle to this beast is he's just a male slut.
He's a philanderer.
He's just a gigolo, Jake.
There's got to be hundreds of kids out there. He would make the best Maury episode ever. Trump, you are the father. It would be awesome. So I would, if Robert Mueller, if you're listening, hire Maury Povich. He has the experience.
What about Jerry Springer? We met him down. He was on Radio Row at the DNC. He's like a radio jock now. He might be available.
I don't know. Maury, that's kind of his bread and butter, though. I mean, it's to find out who the baby's daddy is. Mine, I'm waiting for who's the baby mommy. That would be awesome. It could happen.
It's the Trump housekeeper. That's not a secret. We don't know the name. I don't think it's necessary for us to know the name, but one must only look at the power dynamic differential between a billionaire and a lady who he's threatening to deport if she doesn't do what he wants.
Well, wait, but you're speculating, Michael? I mean, my understanding was this lady was an employee of the Trump organization that worked within the building.
The housekeeper.
But that is a family value of conservatives and Republicans. You hear one of those stories every few years. I mean,
every few years, man. It's every single year. I mean,
every day. Are you kidding me?
They're just hypocrites.
There's scandal, Republican scandal. Someone's got to go retire, go leave to spend more time with family each and every day.
Not David Vitter. He wore a diaper, and they loved him for it, and they voted him in again. So, I don't know. Family values Republicans, that's a big joke.
But that's what they keep selling, Jake. Do you think anyone's going to eventually push back on it, say, well, I know you keep saying this, but look at the behavior of your membership? Can you truly say you are a believer in family values, or perhaps they just need to redefine what they think family values actually means?
Yeah, I just think there's a hardcore percent who just hate other people and Democrats, whoever more. So it doesn't really matter what their people do because those are their hatchet men. They want the red meat. They don't care about anything else.
Thank you for the call, Jake. We appreciate it, man.
Jake's got a problem with adult diapers. I mean, potential sponsor, I was thinking, Dom.
Yeah? We'll
Dom for Depends.
Let me tell you about it. I can stay out all night and never have to use the restroom. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Although that's a little off base. I don't think that Vitter wore the diaper, to stem the tide of the golden showers. That'd be more of a Trumpian thing to do.
Nice.
See where I was going with that?
I got you.
You got to work it in and still try to be FCC compliant.
It's so many layers like an onion.
The layers of clever.
And like a club sandwich with bacon?
Clever club sandwich.
I like bacon.
Put avocado on there for me. More Devil's Advocates. The happy hour starts right now. You are the father.
Daddy, can I go with you? I said, yes, you can.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
Shock and awe, France on Syria. I'm Barbara Cusack. A bit of shock and awe provided by former FBI Director James Comey in his new book, A Higher Loyalty, set to be released next week. In that book, Comey calls President Trump unethical and untethered to truth, and someone who demanded loyalty like a mafia boss. CNN reports the White House is preparing talking points designed to undermine Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein's credibility, as correspondent Sarah Murray explains.
There are some inside the White House who also believe that Rod Rosenstein and James Comey were good friends, and that the reason that Rod Rosenstein has approved sort of the expansion of this investigation is because it's all designed as a rebuke for Comey's firing.
President Trump met with Rosenstein today, but the White House says the meeting was just about routine business. The British cabinet has given Prime Minister Theresa May the green light to join the U.S. and France in planning military strikes in response to an alleged chemical weapons attack in Syria. Correspondent Pamela Brown reports at least one nation is convinced about the nature of the attack.
French President Macron going further than any U.S. official so far, saying that there is concrete proof that a chemical weapon or chlorine was used. By contrast, Defense Secretary Mattis told members of Congress today that while he believes it was a chemical weapons attack, they are still looking for evidence or sending inspectors in to Syria to do that.
Secretary of State nominee Mike Pompeo was pressed during Senate confirmation hearings about whether he would resign if the president decided to halt or interfere with the Russia probe. Correspondent Elise Labott explains what he said.
To make a point, he said, no, I wouldn't, because I think in times of political chaos, it's important to stay the course, and he would side with the president.
The Senate confirmed former coal lobbyist Andrew Wheeler to be the second highest official at the Environmental Protection Agency. That makes him next in line to lead if embattled Administrator Scott Pruitt was forced out or resigns. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Excuse me. I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada. Nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
It's not available in all states.
In an effort to stop sexual misconduct and abuse in Hollywood, the biggest actors union is calling for an end to private auditions, as our Jim Roop explains.
We've heard stories of actresses who were lured to hotel rooms under the guise of being given an audition only to suffer sexual misconduct or assault. Now the SAG-AFTRA new code of conduct calls for producers and studio decision-makers to stop holding professional meetings in these and other high-risk locations, such as private rooms or offices. It also calls on members and their representatives to stop agreeing to go to auditions or meetings in these high-risk locations.
5 more first-round playoff series begin today in the NHL, with New Jersey at Tampa Bay, Toronto visiting Boston. Washington will be hosting Columbus, Colorado playing in Nashville, and San Jose at Anaheim. In last night's openers, the Penguins, the Golden Knights, and the Jets all picked up wins. I'm Barbara Cusack.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. Then Right Meets Left with the Joel and Joe Costa Show. Republican State Rep Joel Clayfish and Democratic State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa go toe-to-toe from 3 to 4. Always streaming at newstalk1510am.com, Wisconsin's Resistance.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Millions of dollars in campaign contributions and years of lobbying seem to be paying off for snowmobile and ATV manufacturers. About 6 months ago, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources opened up over 200 miles of new ATV trails in the Northern Highland American Legion State Forest. Despite previous setbacks, the Walker administration is now trying to open up another remote woodland to all-terrain vehicles. The Turtle Flambeau Scenic Waters area covers more than 8,000 acres of submerged land and about 200 islands in Iron County near the border with Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Partly sunny this afternoon, then a 70% chance of rain tonight, lows in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the mid-40s. For Saturday, rain likely, windy and cold with highs only in the upper 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour. And you know why I'm happy today?
Why is that, man?
Because early excerpts of James Comey's new book are starting to trickle in, and we're going to report them right now for our fair audience. It's not quite Mueller time, but Comey, this has got to be good, Dom.
It's like happy hour, man. The New York Post reported.
Wait,
You want to tease a little?
I just want to contrast the two different media sources. The headline at the Washington Post, James Comey's memoir, Trump fixates on proving lewd dossier allegations false, or as the Post reports it, Trump asked me to investigate P-tape to reassure Melania.
Oh, no. Well, you know what? I think we should
Let's go with the latter.
Yeah.
Not the New York Post, not the Washington Post.
By Ruth Brown at the New York Post. President Trump wanted James Comey to investigate the infamous P-tape allegations to reassure Melania that he hadn't actually paid Russian hookers to urinate on a hotel bed, the former FBI chief claims in his upcoming book.
No, he paid Michael Cohen. And Cohen paid the Russian hookers to pee on the bed. That's just my speculation, Dom. Got to have a fixer. One level of separation, Dom. Then you got plausible deniability.
That's all you need. Unless, of course, that attorney-client privilege veil is pierced, Crudy. He brought up what he called the golden showers thing, adding that it bothered him if there was even a 1% chance his wife, Melania, thought it was true, Comey writes, in A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, a copy which was obtained by the Post.
I always thought it was more of a coin flip. I don't think it's a 1%er. I'd say it's about a 50-50, Dom.
I think you're being generous. He just rolled in unprompted, explaining why it couldn't possibly be true, ending by saying that he was thinking of asking me to investigate the allegation to prove it was a lie. I said it was up to him. The conversation took place during the same private dinner on January 27th of 2017, where Comey has claimed the president demanded loyalty just days after the publication of an intelligence dossier alleging that the Kremlin had a tape of Trump paying prostitutes to perform the dirty deed on a bed once occupied by President Obama. Go ahead, Crute.
Oh, you're going to leave me the last 4 sentences? Comey says he warned Trump an investigation might, and here's a quote from the Comey book, create a narrative that we were investigating him personally. The former top G-man writes. The president replied that might be right, but kept asking him to consider the idea and said he would as well, according to Comey. Comey said he privately wondered why Melania might think there was even a 1% chance that the allegations were true, claiming there is a 0 chance his wife would believe such a claim.
His own wife, right.
Here's the quote, Dom. In what kind of marriage, to what kind of man does a spouse conclude that there's only a 99% chance that her husband didn't do that? He writes in the book, which hits shelves April 17th. That's what, next Tuesday, Dom? I hear that could be a big day around here.
Oh, my goodness. All right, so let's talk about that from Comey. Come on, man. But you never paid Russian prostitutes to pee on a bed that was, slept in by a former president?
Desecrate it just because you never really liked Obama that much.
I don't quite get the logic. And set aside the
but you realize...
What's the point? What is the point? Does he not think nobody else since Obama slept in that bed?
Well, here would be a point I would ask. Okay, so you're not guilty of the paying of multiple Russian hookers to urinate on a bed to desecrate it. But certainly if you got Cohen out there fixing stuff around town, it's not like it's not going to get out. I mean, if you are a complete hound, if you're out there dogging all around town, barebacking porn stars all around town.
Which he does, the president, that's his lifestyle.
And you don't want your wife to know about that or think there's even a 1% chance that the lurid gossip might be true, well, then don't do it and don't run for president. Because now assuming there's no veracity whatsoever because Trump, turned the hookers back at the door? That's the allegation we're supposed to believe. And let's not forget the deal that was made to take Trump and the, Miss Universe pageant to Moscow. They made that in a club in Vegas that was later shut down for lewdness because they were doing urination scenes at that club. Well, maybe that's why there's more than a 1% chance. I mean, Donald Trump apparently came in, Agelrovs, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Came in and made the deal and got himself invited and, in fact, signed a deal to have a Miss Universe pageant in Moscow where he's accused of hiring the Russian hookers, which he claims were turned at the door, and therefore this can't be true. But he's got a porn star here, a playmate there, a love baby over here.
Paid off the doorman there.
And there's an Access Hollywood tape that exists where you effectively confess to, some, let's just say, lurid details. And you're going to keep your wife from finding out about any of it?
But here, help me with this logic. Why would the president, let's say he did all these things. He paid the hookers to pee on the bed and whatever. Why would, and you're guilty as hell. And
doesn't everybody?
Why would you ask the FBI director to investigate it and
exonerate you?
And prove it false from your wife? I mean,
I didn't do that.
See, the FBI director looked into it and he said I didn't do it. I mean, was that what he was looking for? Just a pass from Comey?
Comey has credibility to Melania, but of course the new White House, the new Republican challenge will be lying Comey. Which is it? It can't be both. Either Comey has the veracity to exonerate you in the eyes of your own spouse. Kind of makes this job interesting, doesn't it? I mean, we have a lot of fun around here talking about this president.
I know, but what about governance? What about foreign policy? What about trade deals?
But you understand that these, I know we're having juvenile conversations and we relish them, but these sordid details, these salacious details, in the context of the fact that Cohen's office was raided because of the alleged criminality against not Trump, but against Cohen, the attorney, the fixer, who's been paying off the porn stars and the playmates and I guess that was the National Enquirer.
Yeah, right. Different
catch and kill. I don't mean to miscalculate or misrepresent, but one must assume. There's young socialites all around New York that have got NDA agreements in hand. And if the doorman thinks he can break the confidentiality, I got to think a few of them think they can also break the confidentiality. Right. I mean, I don't think Melania is going to be giving him a lot of loving in the foreseeable decade.
Well, didn't he tell one of the
they got separate bedrooms now?
Yeah.
That was Karen McDougal, the playmate.
McDougal?
Yeah. She's the one that got taken up to the Trump Tower place, I believe. And I think both showed some modicum of regret towards Melania, talking about both of the alleged porn star and
the mistresses.
Playmate mistresses.
The
both
sex
of them,
partners.
as I heard them, expressed some sort of remorse towards Melania, which is more than you can say about Donald Trump.
Do you think
they're more worried about her feelings than her own husband, who of course is cheating on her, or so it is alleged in pretty much every paper in America.
844-967-2789. These are presidential politics. This isn't Sex Talk Live here on WRRD, the Devil's Advocates. This is what
I'm
we
Trudy.
have to do
That's
with.
Dr. Ruth.
Let me talk to you about masturbation, Michael.
You're roughly speaking about the same size as Dr. Ruth.
Oh, I'm way bigger than her.
Don't even think about it.
She could dunk on you.
All right, so
can't wait for the whole book, though.
Let's pause for just a moment and think about what Mueller is doing here. What's the hook? I mean, now that you have the communications between the attorney and the president.
Well, I don't know what Mueller's doing, but Comey's selling some books. Amazon, New York Times. I mean, the book's not even out yet. It's already #1 on the bestseller list. Comey's selling books. I hope it doesn't undermine the investigation or undermine the veracity of James Comey as a witness in the future obstruction impeachment of Donald Trump. You know, man's got to make a living, though. Got fired from his job. I know that because I saw Trump describe it to Lester Holt and the two Sergis, of course, in the White House. All that Russian pressure. Time to obstruct some justice and fire that guy. But now he wrote a tell-all. And I don't think Trump's ever really, truly been exonerated from the whole PP tape thing, right? That's what the heart of the Steele dossier is. And I've seen many sources say so much has been disproven. What part of the Steele dossier is yet to be disproven? Disproven.
I think,
quantifiably disproven.
Didn't he say that Cohen was in Europe at one point and he wasn't? I thought there were some logistical details in there that were not quite accurate.
Some minor detail of which porn star Cohen was paying off at the time.
Or what European city or what. Yeah, there were some, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I have to look it up. But generally speaking, Crudy, my understanding is it's pretty much been fairly accurate.
Cohen says, I couldn't have been in Europe at that time. I was paying off a porn star in Vegas. On behalf of my chief client, Donald Trump, we are your only source for all the news you need. Salacious details and otherwise. Devil's Advocates, Dom and Crute. You can join this sex talk in the afternoons. 844-967-2789. Text us, call us, or tweet us at Devil Radio.
Everybody has been outplayed.
If any Americans were part of helping the Russians do that to us, that is a very big deal.
I find it sexy.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi, folks. This is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet-friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009. Or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Matt Rothschild here from the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign.
Those candidates out there, don't ignore these inexpensive ways to advertise.
Well, wait until we get our FM. They're going to get more expensive all the time.
Radio for the 99%. Women want them. Men want to be them. Tom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network. Phone lines open 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I hate to go back here, but James Comey, excerpts from the new book, they're dropping. They're being reported. The Washington Post has some sordid details, and we feel obligated to share until I pulled the tool from my bag. And here's what Comey says he said. "We are not investigating you, sir." That seemed to quiet him, Comey writes. Trump did not stay quiet for long. Comey describes Trump as having been obsessed with the prostitutes portion of the infamous dossier compiled by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele, raising it at least 4 times with the FBI head. The document claimed that Trump had watched the prostitutes urinate on themselves in the same Moscow suite that President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama stayed in previously as a way of soiling the bed, Comey writes. Trump offered varying explanations to convince Comey it was not true. Here's what he said, Dom. "I'm a germaphobe," Trump told him in a follow-up call on January 11, 2017, according to Comey's account. Again, the quote from the president, according to Comey, "There's no way I could let people pee on each other around me. No way." Later, the president asked what could be done to lift the cloud because it was so painful for First Lady Melania Trump. Then, on May 9, 2017, Trump fired Comey, leading to the Justice Department Special Counsel Russian investigation. The discussions about the Steele dossier, which Comey recounts for the first time in his book, are among the number of explosive revelations in A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, a 304-page tell-all in which the former FBI director details his private interactions with Trump, as well as his handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation. The Washington Post obtained a copy early. Why didn't we get a copy early, Dom?
No.
You would have read it anyways. In his memoir, Comey paints a devastating portrait of a president who built, and this is a quote, Dom, "a cocoon of alternative reality that he was busily wrapping around all of us." Comey describes Trump as a congenital liar, an unethical leader, devoid of human emotion, and driven by personal ego.
That sounds about right.
Comey narrates in vivid detail, based on his contemporaneous notes, instances in which Trump violated the norms protecting the FBI's independence in attempts to coerce Comey into being loyal to him, such as during a one-on-one dinner in the White House. Interacting with Trump, Comey writes, gave him flashbacks to my earlier career as a prosecutor against the "it's not fake news, it's not okay."
Is it going to be okay, Crudy?
It's never going to be okay. I think Omarosa might have, had some...
Yeah, laid it out there for us.
Some truth to tell. And if you think Trump's bad, what'd she warn us, Omarosa, that is? Pence is even worse.
Oh, no. Get them all out of there.
But I've never heard any accusations of Pence in a PP tape. Won't even be in the room with another woman besides his wife. Certainly not at a bar.
If nothing else, if you don't go into the room, you don't expose yourself to that kind of behavior. So perhaps Pence is not into any of those things, but perhaps Trump is. Perhaps.
I didn't do it. Tell Melania I didn't do it.
She'd be so sad.
Please tell Melania. She hasn't snuggled with me in months.
Years.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. I'll snuggle up close. 844-967-2789.
But there's been no collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that.
Those were lies, plain and simple. It's not a close call.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Tune in to The Resistance, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Start your weekday off with the Earl Ingram Show from 7 to 9 a.m. Next is the Stephanie Miller Show from 9 to 11. Then from 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman Program. At 2 o'clock, it's 414 Wisconsin. Then from 3 to 6, it's the Devil's Advocates. Mandatory listening. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
I'm Andy Buck, and I'm proud to be union.
Tell me about the underground economy.
Well, the underground economy is essentially workers being exploited, and they're being exploited all over the state. They're working for no benefits, no retirement, and if you don't join your brothers and sisters, you don't respect your craft.
Andy, why should I hire union?
Crudy, you should hire union because you want the job done right the first time. We represent the highest skilled, safety-trained workers in the industries that we represent. Glazers, painters, and drywall finishers. Join us. Painters and Allied Trades, District Council 7.
Is my kid in the right car seat? I guess she is.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear-facing, forward-facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her.
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys.
For Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. Despite previous setbacks, the Walker administration is now trying to open up another remote woodland to all-terrain vehicles. The Turtle Flambeau Scenic Waters area covers more than 8,000 acres of submerged land and about 200 islands in Iron County near the border with Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Until recently, the majority of political campaigns were run by men, but now things are changing. A story in the Cap Times points out that of the 9 Democratic campaigns for governor with hired staff, 7 of them are run by women. And the Bucks lost last night to the 76ers 130-95. Their first playoff game is Sunday against the Celtics. Partly sunny this afternoon, then a 70% chance of rain tonight, lows in the upper 30s. Tomorrow, rain likely, highs in the mid-40s. For Saturday, rain likely, windy and cold with highs only in the upper 30s. I'm Stu Daniels for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
The Devil's Advocates, so relevant they have one foot in tomorrow.
I would say more accurately, 1 foot into next Tuesday. That's when the James Comey tell-all hits bookshelves. It's already pre-sold. #1 on the New York Times bestseller, I believe, Dom. And excerpts being released right now. We're going to release them for our audience. The reporting of Philip Rucker at the Washington Post. Dom, why don't you pick up?
I'll jump in where you left off, Crudy, surviving a bully from the Post. Comey describes a February 14th, 2017 meeting in the Oval Office where Trump asked Attorney General Jeff Sessions to clear the room so he could bring up the FBI investigation of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn directly with Comey, a key event in Special Counsel Mueller's investigation of whether Trump sought to obstruct justice.
Maybe, Valentine's Day being the time and the setting, maybe you just wanted to get to know Comey just a little better.
Light some candles and just see if you can help me out. I hope you can see your way.
Comey, he's a tall glass of water.
I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go, Trump said, according to Comey's account of the meeting, some of which he first shared with Senate testimony last year. He's a good guy. I hope you can let this go. Comey writes that he regrets not interrupting Trump to explain that his plea was wrong. He later recalls later confronting Sessions, whom he describes as both overwhelmed and overmatched by the job. You can't be kicked out of the room so he can talk to me alone, Comey told Sessions, according to the book. You have to be between me and the president.
Jeff Sessions, overwhelmed and overmatched by the job. I mean, prior to becoming the Attorney General of the United States, he worked in that tree with the cookie factory, Don.
Continuing on from the Post, Comey also recounts new observations. Quote, Sessions just cast his eyes down at the table and they darted quickly back and forth, side to side. He said nothing. I read his posture and face, a message that he would not be able to help me. A lifelong Republican until recently, Comey delivers an indirect but unmistakable rebuke of the GOP congressional leaders as well. Quote, it is also wrong to stand idly by or worse, stay silent when you know better, when a president brazenly seeks to undermine public confidence in law enforcement institutions that were established to keep our leaders in check.
Talking to you, Paul Ryan.
Comey stops short of outlining a legal case against the president, explaining that because he does not know all the evidence, he cannot determine whether Trump intended to obstruct justice by firing him and by asking him to back off the FBI's investigation of former security advisor Michael Flynn. Here's what he writes. I have one perspective on the behavior I saw, which, while disturbing and violating basic norms of ethical leadership, may fall short of being illegal, he writes. Still, the book is an indictment of Trump's presidency as well as his character. Each chapter can be interpreted as an elaborate trolling of Trump, starting with the title, A Higher Loyalty, a subtle reference to the loyalty pledge that Trump sought and did not receive from Comey. Comey describes being bullied as a child growing up in New Jersey, taunted, body slammed into lockers, and given wedgies. Bullies, he writes, threaten the weak to feed some insecurity that rages inside them. Surviving a bully requires constant learning and adaptation, which is why bullies are so powerful, because it's so much easier to be a follower, to go along with the crowd, to just blend in. Comey also enumerates the psychology of liars in an apparent nod to the current occupant of the Oval Office. They lose the ability to distinguish between what's true and what's not, Comey writes. They surround themselves with other liars. Perks and access are given to those willing to lie and tolerate lies. This creates a culture which becomes an entire way of life.
Dominic, we are reading from the Washington Post, Philip Rucker, the headline, James Comey's memoir, Trump Fixates on Proving Lewd Dossier Allegations False. Tell Melania I didn't do it.
Please.
Now I'm going to read on. Trying to do the right thing. Comey defends his handling of the Clinton email investigation and for the first time details a private assurance he received from President Obama following Clinton's defeat. Many Democrats blame Comey for announcing less than 2 weeks before the election that the FBI was examining a new trove of Clinton emails for possible classified material. Comey writes that Obama sat alone with him in the Oval Office in late November and told him, I picked you to be FBI director because of your integrity and your ability. I want you to know that nothing has happened in the last year to change my view. On the verge of tears, there's no crying and FBIing. On the verge of tears, Comey told Obama, boy, were those the words I needed to hear? I'm just trying to do the right thing. I know, Obama said. I know. Comey also writes that in the post-election briefing for senators, then Senator Al Franken confronted him about what you did to Hillary Clinton. Comey responded, I did my best with the facts before me. A teary-eyed Senate Minority Leader, Chuck E. Schumer, grabbed me by the hand afterward and said, I know you. You were in an impossible position, Comey writes. This is perhaps a little self-serving, this tale Comey tells.
Lots of crying going on.
It's the crying game. Clinton wrote in her campaign memoir what happened, that she felt shivved by Comey. 2 days before the election, Comey announced that the FBI had reviewed the new emails and found nothing to change its views that Clinton should not be prosecuted. But in Clinton's assessment, the damage had already been done. Comey, who says his wife and daughters voted for Clinton, includes a message in his book to the would-be first female president. Here's the quote, Tom. I have read she felt anger towards me personally, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry that I couldn't do a better job explaining to her and her supporters why I made the decisions I made. Comey is critical of then Attorney General Loretta Lynch, saying she had a tortured, half-out, half-in approach to the Clinton investigation that he considered calling for the appointment of a special prosecutor. One day shortly before the election, Lynch and Comey met privately. Comey
looked shorter than he did on television. His face appeared slightly orange, Comey writes, with bright white half moons under his eyes, where I assumed he placed small tanning goggles, and imprecisely coiffed bright blonde hair, which upon close inspection looked to be all his.
So we even get a assessment.
Right. As he extended his hand, Comey adds, I made a mental note to check its size. It was smaller than mine, but did not seem unusually so.
Well, the man's 6'8" tall if he doesn't have the hands to match.
But I continue. Trump was accompanied at the Trump Tower session by his national security team, as well as by political aides Reince Priebus and Sean Spicy, who were slated to become White House Chief of Staff and Press Secretary, respectively. Trump asked only one question, Comey writes. You found there was no impact on the results, right? Right, Crudy? James R. Clapper Jr., then the Director of National Intelligence, replied that the intelligence community did no such analysis. Comey recalls being struck that neither Trump nor his advisors asked about the future Russian threat, nor how the United States might be prepared to meet it. Rather, he writes, they focused on how they could spin what we'd just told them. With Clapper and then CIA Director John Brennan, both Obama appointees, still in the room, Priebus and other Trump aides strategized for political advantage, Comey writes. The Trump team decided that they would emphasize that Russian interference had no impact on the vote, which Clapper reminded them the intelligence community had not determined. When the meeting ended, Comey stayed behind with Trump to discuss the salacious dossier. The day before, as Clapper and Comey briefed Obama about Russian interference, the president asked who planned to tell Trump about the Moscow prostitute allegations. Clapper replied that Comey would.
Not it. Not it.
Obama turned his head to the left and looked directly at me, Comey recalls. He raised and lowered both of his eyebrows with emphasis and then looked away. To my mind, his Groucho Marx eyebrow raise was both subtle humor and an expression of concern. It was almost as if he was saying, good luck with that. A week after the Trump Tower meeting on January 11, Comey writes that Trump called him and said he was concerned about the dossier being made public and was fixated on the prostitutes allegation. The president-elect argued that it could not be true because he had not stayed overnight in Moscow, but had only used the hotel to change his clothes. And after Trump explained that he would never allow people to urinate near him, Comey recalls laughing. I decided not to tell him that the activity alleged did not seem to require either an overnight stay or even being in proximity to the participants, Comey writes. In fact, though I didn't know it for sure, I imagine the presidential suite at the Ritz-Carlton in Moscow was large enough for a germaphobe to be safe at a safe distance from the activity. Jeez.
Now, the FBI director of the United States of America is having to make a logistical assessment of whether or not our germaphobe president could be in the same room with peeing Russian hookers. I mean, I talked about not doing math on the radio, but that's a whole different sort of math, don't you think?
I think I would trust the FBI director's assessment.
After 1 week as president, Trump invited Comey to dinner. Comey describes the scene on January 27th. The tables in the green room were set for two.
Aww.
Set for love, Dom. The president marveled at the fancy handwriting on the four-course menu placards and seemed unaware of the term calligrapher. Now, that's hard for me to say, but at least I know what the word means. White House stewards served salads, shrimp scampi, chicken parm with pasta, and vanilla ice cream. Two scoops
for Trump, maybe.
Comey writes that he believed Trump was trying to establish a patronage relationship, and he said, I need loyalty. I expect loyalty. I read on from the Philip Rucker piece at the Washington Post. It's getting good now. Here's a quote. I was determined not to give the president any hint of assent to this demand. So I gave silence instead, Comey writes. I stared at the soft white pouches under his expressionless blue eyes. I remember thinking in that moment that the president doesn't understand the FBI's role in American life. Trump broke the standoff by turning to other topics. Comey writes, speaking in torrents, like an oral jigsaw puzzle about the size of his inauguration crowd, his free media coverage, and the viciousness of the campaign. He talked about the Clinton email investigation as in 3 phases, as if it were a television series. Comey 1, Comey 2, and Comey 3. Trump also tried to convince Comey that he had not mocked disabled New York Times reporter Serge Kowalewski at a campaign rally. I don't remember. And then turned the idea that he grabbed a porn star and offered her money to come to his room was preposterous unless it was absolutely freaking true. We are the devil's advocates. I think eventually we'll find out. I strongly suspect that Stormy did indeed do the dirty with Donald Double D Trump. Come back with us. Your phone calls welcome here. Spilling on Trump via Comey. 844-967-2789.
If it's possible, would you let me know, am I under investigation?
Hey, well, you're going to have to take me to dinner first.
We had a very nice dinner, and at that time he told me you are not under investigation.
As between really bad and catastrophic, got to walk into the world of really bad.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes his speech, but he's always riding like he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know,
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Ingram of News Talk 1510 WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, and I am the Director of Advertising and Marketing. The pride of our independent stands runs deep in all that we do here at the station. The thing that I know for sure is that you can count on the quality and independent production of client advertising, mirroring the quality and independence of our fine programming here at News Talk 1510. To learn more, contact me at 414-335-0851 or via email at daryl@newstalk1510am.com.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Head to toe, everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Rock and roll political commentary in a top 40 world.
And we are back. Thank you for listening. Devil's Advocates radio show, last segment of the day. So if you got something to say, now is your chance. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, the salacious details. All the good stuff coming out. Comey dropping a book on Tuesday. The Washington Post, Philip Rucker, giving us some details today. Dom, we'd like to continue sharing them with our audience while there's still time.
Crudy, the last section in this fine piece, I'll start it off. Lift the cloud. The two men were back together at the White House a couple weeks later. Comey had dropped by the Chief of Staff's office to explain to Priebus, who he describes as both confused and irritated, the appropriate way for the White House to interact with the FBI. When they finished, Priebus asked Comey if he wanted to say hello to Trump. An ironic gesture, Comey recalls, considering he was just explaining the importance of the Bureau's independence.
That's our right.
Comey demurred, but Priebus insisted and brought him to the Oval Office where Trump was stationed behind the resolute desk. The president, Comey recalls, launched into one of his rapid-fire stream of consciousness monologues, this time about a recent Super Bowl interview with then Fox News Channel personality Bill O'Reilly, in which Trump complimented Russian President Vladimir Putin. But he's a killer, O'Reilly told Trump. The president's reply, there are a ton of killers. We've got a lot of killers. Who do you think? What do you think? Our country's so innocent? Trump turned to Comey about the media criticism he received. I gave a good answer, Trump said, according to Comey. Really, it was a great answer. I gave a really great answer. Trump sought validation. You think it was a great answer, right? Comey replied, we aren't the kind of killers that Putin is. Trump apparently did not take the correction well. Comey writes that the president's eyes changed and his jaw tightened, and Priebus escorted him out.
Angry Donald. I read on. The next month, Trump called Comey to complain about the Russian investigation as a cloud that was impairing his presidency, and again brought up the Moscow prostitutes allegation. As Comey writes, for about the fourth time, he argued that the golden shower stain wasn't true, asking yet again, can you imagine me, hookers?
Yes.
Comey writes on March 30th, 2017 call, in an apparent play for my sympathy, added that he has a beautiful wife, and the whole thing has been very painful for her. He asked what he could do to lift the cloud. Comey recalls telling the president the FBI was investigating it as quickly as possible, and that he had told Congress Trump was not personally under investigation, to which the president repeatedly told him, we need to get that fact out. 2 weeks later, on April 11th, Trump called Comey again to check on his request to get out that he is not under investigation, Comey writes. He seemed irritated with me, Comey recalls. Again, a quote, I had been very loyal to you, very loyal. We had that thing, you know, Trump told him, according to the book, apparently referring to the loyalty dinner. That was the last time the two men spoke. On May 9th, as Comey was talking with FBI employees in the Los Angeles field office, he peered at a television screen and saw the news alert. Comey fired! Comey describes soon receiving an emotional call from Homeland Security Secretary John F. Kelly. He said he was sick about my firing and that he intended to quit in protest, Comey writes. He said he didn't want to work for dishonorable people who would treat someone like me in such a manner. I urged Kelly not to do that, arguing that the country needed principled people around the president, especially this president. Kelly did not resign. 2.5 months later, he was named White House Chief of Staff. Philip Rucker, Washington Post.
Little teaser on the book.
Now I got to buy the book. Some fine publicist for Comey, A, should send me a free copy of the book, and B, they should book James Comey right here on the greatest radio show ever, Dom. Is it possible we have a caller? I can't get to the little controller doohickey majiggy. Oh, we do. We got Tom from Cedarburg. Let's sneak in one call here. Tom, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Well, two things. I wanted to say that I really do think you're doing a civic duty to bring out really everything, you know, good and bad, and it seems like you're not afraid to do it, which is honorable. And it's kind of the squashed view that, you know, WISN and other stations don't want people to put out. The other thing I want to say is that you guys sometimes are just so funny, and you're so in tune, and you play up each other so well, and it's very enjoyable, I want to say.
Tom, I don't know if you know this, but Dom has seen me naked.
Oh, Tom.
We've been friends for way too many years, Tom. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. You know, when he starts asking me for loyalty pledges.
You remember we had that thing, Crudy.
That makes me really nervous, Tom.
Oh.
Tom.
Thank you.
No, go quick, Tom.
I'm just saying I'm listening only for a couple of weeks, but I'm listening more and more, and I try to catch some of the earlier shows too. And I'm so glad you're on the air. And honestly, you really are doing a civic duty and informing people of stuff that's being stifled on purpose that needs to be out to everyone, especially the people who aren't rich, you know.
Well, I ain't rich either, Tom. I certainly appreciate the kind words in your listenership. All I ask from you, Tom, 3 hours every weekday right here on WRD, 1510 AM, 1580 AM. Thank you, Mark Pocan, my congressman, and fine guest. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Congressman Pocan will be at the town hall with Keith Ellison. I'll be there as well, 7 to 8 p.m. at, the South Park Labor Temple in Madison. I'm doing this by memory. I think I got it right.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, all our callers, Tom, and callers. Everybody, audience, go tell everyone else what you're hearing here. We love you, audience. We do it for you.
Boy, this looks like very big stuff.
Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
We had a very nice dinner.
I was on zero.